Hello everyone and welcome back guys to round 18 of season 1 of the F1 2020 McLaren driver career mode, where today we're here back for the Japanese Grand Prix. 5 races to go of season 1 from this series, and what a season it has been. If you missed out on the Russian Grand Prix last time out, I would definitely recommend going back and checking it out, but there will be spoilers in 3, 2, 1 now. So, last time out then, we had another decent result for third place, at the Russian Grand Prix there. Unfortunately, Lewis Hamilton DNF'd, which pretty much now guarantees Bottas the World Championship this season. He's got a, 82-point lead with 5 to go. So Hamilton, yeah, pretty much needs a perfect end to the season there. Bottas could theoretically wrap it up this weekend if he outscores Hamilton by 23 points? Yeah, 23 points. He will, therefore, mathematically wrap up the World Championship here today. So he basically needs another Hamilton DNF if he wants to win this there. We're now up in P3 overall. They're just 12 points behind Lewis Hamilton, so I could do with another Hamilton DNF as well. They're on 11 points back behind Ferrari in the Constructors' battle as well there. So trying to get to the end of the season, trying to just keep it clean, consistent and tidy, and obviously focusing towards Season 2, where hopefully we can really challenge the Mercs. Here we are then, qualifying day at the Suzuka Grand Prix circuit. A proper old school roller coaster on the F1 calendar. Very excited to be jumping into this one today. Free practice, the car has felt a little bit loose in a couple of places, you know, with the bumps and lumps around this track. It really does test the rear suspension out a fair bit as well, obviously trying to keep things nice and stable. But it's looking like it's going to be a wet race here tomorrow as well, so we are going to run just a little bit more wing, obviously in hopes of trying to make sure the car is in better spec, ready for the Grand Prix. So we're actually going to run 6-7 wings ready for this one here. But let's head out then onto the circuit for our one-shot qualifying run around this Japanese Grand Prix circuit. Then obviously a very tight and technical Sector 1, Sector 2 and Sector 3, a little bit more open in most places as well. You can hear just all the bumps going through the wheel as we head down in towards Turn 1 here. It is one of those tracks here, you either nail the line or you get it catastrophically wrong as we head in towards the S's for the first time. Just being a little bit careful on the throttle there, just trying to keep it blended where we can. Like I said, the back end is more than happy to just get a little bit loose in a couple of places. How on earth have we held on to that? That was not quite where I wanted to be heading through there, but we've held on to it as we try and get out of the Degners. All nice and tidy now up in towards the hairpin. Kobayashi's favourite place in the world. And then really ease on the power on the exit. There we go, nice traction off the exit of the corner there. But I got no idea how we held that coming out of Dunlop in the end of Sector 1. They're down in towards Spoon, one of my favourite corners of the track. Bottas and Hamilton trading places at the front. We get a good run though off the exit of the corner there. We're sat in provisional P4 at the moment, so I think it's Verstappen currently sat in P3 there, but just a few more corners to go then through 130R. Not really any sort of challenge in these modern spec cars there, and now just a couple more corners to go, just at the 100 metre board, way too deep on the entry, a lot of curb on the exit there, try and get the power down at the final turn. Shortest run to the line, I think it's P4 in the end here at Suzuka qualifying, so that's a pretty decent result. I'll take that rather happily indeed in the end there. But yeah, I think it's Mercedes top 2, Verstappen P3, yeah.
Let's review our top 3 today. Bottas, Hamilton and Max Verstappen. Well, that wraps up qualifying, but don't worry, we'll be back tomorrow as we head into the Grand Prix.
So there we go then, Verstappen, yeah, in P3 there ahead of myself, Danny Rick, Albon at Norris, both Ferraris 8th and 9th, and then Esteban Ocon in the Renault there down in P10. So only 5 teams making up the top 10 there. Then we've got both Racing Points, both Alpha Tauris, both Alfa Romeos, both Haas and both Williams. So everyone in their own little pace brackets ready for this Grand Prix weekend. But let's dive in then here for the Japanese Grand Prix.
Welcome along then to the magnificent Suzuka International Circuit, a stone's throw away from Ise Bay in the beautiful Japanese countryside. What surprises lie in wait for us today in the Japanese Grand Prix? We're southwest of the city of Nagoya today at a wet and windy Suzuka circuit. 3.6 miles and 18 corners make up a lap here, with Sector 1 likely to prove especially difficult in these conditions. We should see overtaking into turns 1 and 16 today, and maybe a few Kobayashi-style dives into the hairpin as well. Anthony Davidson, thanks for joining me once again for the Grand Prix. Let's talk about Mr. Monaco. What do you make of their performance so far this season?
It's been a really solid year so far. There have been some incredible standout performances, but what's really impressed me has been the consistency. With this kind of form, I'm expecting another great race today.
It's time to see how our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. Valtteri Bottas lines up on pole position, and it's Lewis Hamilton alongside. As we continue through the rest of the grid today, we have Verstappen, Mr. Monaco, Daniel Ricciardo, and Albon, Norris, Vettel, Leclerc, and Esteban Ocon, Perez, Stroll, Pierre Gasly, and Kvyat, Giovinazzi, Raikkonen, Romain Grosjean, and Kevin Magnussen, Russell, and Nicholas Latifi. It's almost time for the lights to go out, so let's head down to the track and get this Grand Prix underway.
We're still in with a chance of winning the title. We need you to push as hard as you can in the 5 remaining races.
I'll be honest, I'm not too sure what Jeff is thinking there. We are not in the title hunt. We might mathematically be in the title hunt, but I think that is all going to be washed away here today at this Japanese Grand Prix there. But very, very excited to be jumping into this. Tricky conditions, though, are certainly going to separate the men from the boys this weekend, and trying to keep the tyres in good nick as well to see if that one-stop strategy is going to be possible. But starting P4 once again, here we got both Mercedes and Verstappen that always seem to be quicker, but championship-wise, we're still sat as best of the rest at the moment, and hopefully, obviously, if Lando and I keep having some good results, we can try and jump Ferrari and finish P2 in the Constructors' Championship as well here. 5 rounds to go of Season 1 of the F1 2020 McLaren Driver Career Mode. It's 5 red lights here at Suzuka, and it is lights out, and away we go. Getting a little bit squirrely off the start there, trying to squeeze Danny Rick as we head down in towards the first corner, but Danny Rick having absolutely none of it there, right around the outside of myself through the first turn there, and a brave, brave move coming in by the Australian, who has done, yeah, exactly what he needed to at the start of the Grand Prix there. I cannot quite believe he's been able to pull that off on me, but the AI recently seemed, I don't know if there's been a patch that's made him more ballsy or what, but the AI, yeah, certainly not afraid to go for moves in the most recent patch here on F1 2020. But this first lap is going to be a tough old test, just trying to sort of learn where the grip is, everything like that, very much like the British Grand Prix we had in the My Team Career Mode that went live a couple of days ago as well. But hopefully we should be able to get to grips with the car. Ooh, popping it in neutral there for a brief moment. Don't want to do that as we try and get the car. Oh, come on. Very, very easy just for it to get a bit fishtaily down in towards Spoon here, sort of just all over the bumps and everything like that. But yeah, I feel quicker than Ricciardo at the moment. Definitely feel like we can hopefully pressure the Renault man. Don't quite have the same sort of car performance as us at the moment. Obviously the same power unit in the back of both of these cars, however, but we have got a decent run actually as we head down in towards 130R for the first time in this Grand Prix. Don't really want to go for anything through there on lap 1, I'll be honest. Not quite too sure how much speed and momentum we were going to be able to take through there, as that's a lot of curb through the Casio Triangle, but we have survived the opening lap of this Japanese Grand Prix. Bottas still leads the way, but again we've got a really good run on Ricciardo down in towards turn 1. Side by side with the Australian. Can we do to him what he did to us? No, we definitely cannot, as Ricciardo actually runs wide as well through that first turn. We'll settle back down and try and go again.
Let's use overtake and burn.
That's certainly not going to help us either, as we just run a little bit wide, and we're going to lose a whole heap of places there. Come on. Just so difficult to try and keep the back end exactly in line there. We just ran a little bit wide, clip the grass, and a drop back down now to P9 in this Grand Prix, so not what we needed. So the momentum now shifts from trying to jump Daniel Ricciardo to seeing if we can get back past Charles Leclerc here. Hopefully we can try and get a run out of the hairpin. Let's just wait and see. Ferrari obviously not a very quick car down the streets anymore here, and yeah, look at that momentum that we're able to get on Charles Leclerc, getting a little bit loose there, accidentally nudging the barge board of Charles Leclerc, but a big send back up the inside, and we're now back up into 8th. Seb up next. Now then, if we can try and get a little bit closer to Sebastian Vettel through this final sector of the lap. The McLaren does feel incredibly leery at the moment on F1 2020, and Japan is not one of my strongest tracks on the calendar, and made even worse in the wet. You just get no feel through the rear wheels on this track, on this game. Don't know what it is, but yeah, especially in the wet conditions, I really do tend to struggle here. But we have got a good run on Sebastian as we head down in towards 130R. Being brave there, getting the car all over the white lines. Up the inside we go. In towards the Casio Triangle. A brave dive bomb, but a clean dive bomb. And we're back up into 7th. Bottas' new fast lap of the Grand Prix. I think we're still going to be a little way off that, but not too far. Next up then is young Alex Albon. Red Bull have obviously never got the strongest car down the straight, but I can't imagine it's going to be much worse than the post-patch Ferrari year as we try to get the power down out of Spoon there. And yeah, look at that, we have got another good run then on Alexander Albon here, down in towards the Casio Triangle. Can we be brave through 130R again? This time around running a little bit wide, so I don't think we're going to be able to capitalise there. A bit of a lock-up. Ooh, Albon really struggling to get the car positioned through the final couple of corners. Can we get the power down at the final turn? Seems that we have got quite a decent run here, so maybe if we use a bit more of our ERS, we'll have a look to the inside of Alex Albon, down in towards the first corner there. Don't quite have enough to deploy down in towards there, so we'll have to sit back and try at the end of the lap. Attempt 2 then, and trying to get past Alexander Albon, down in towards the Casio Triangle. Luckily we're not using too much ERS, obviously around the rest of the lap. Heading through, again running a little bit wide. Can we think about... Oh, Albon, way earlier on the brakes than I was expecting, so we do get the move done up the inside. Not quite when I was expecting it to be done, but that's us back up then into 6th place in this Grand Prix there. But yeah, I was very surprised to see Albon sort of moved across, as he likely would, to try and take the racing line. But yeah, also brake checking us ever so slightly, I felt, in towards the final couple of corners there. Next up, though, our teammate Lando Norris. Right, how quick is our teammate going to be in his McLaren out of 130R? We're a little bit closer than we have been to Albon, so maybe there's going to be another opportunity to go for a send in towards there as well. Look, yeah, Lando really not having anywhere near as much confidence in his McLaren there, braking a little bit early, moving across ever so slightly. We dip a wheel on the grass, but we just about hold on around the outside of our teammate here. So we're back up into 5th place, back where we started, it feels like, in this Grand Prix. Or not quite where we started, but back where we were by the end of lap 1. Taking us 7 laps to get to the back of Ricciardo, but can we now finally get the move done on the Australian? Really do feel like we've got into a bit of a groove over the course of this race. Can we try and do the same thing that we've done so many times before to other cars here? Obviously, again, should be a pretty much identical power unit in the back of Ricciardo's Renault. A little bit slower through there than I was expecting from the Australian, the master of the late breakers. And yeah, we can't find a move up the inside that time round on Daniel Ricciardo. We cannot afford to get stuck behind him once again in this Grand Prix. Really activate the ERS nice and early at the final corner. We're still setting PBs at the moment, but can we get a run down in towards turn 1? We'll have to slot past him another time. Maybe they'll round the outside through the first corner. Can we try and find the grip? No, we can. That would have been an impressive move. I would have been very happy to pull that one off, but Ricciardo once again holding firm and having absolutely no messing. Again, getting another good run on Danny Rick down towards turn 1 here. This time around, he's going defensive on us in towards the first corner. Is he going to be able to park the bus? Oh, he definitely sits on the apex there through turn 1 and turn 2 here. So everyone else, we've just been able to slip by, but Danny Rick just seems to have that little bit more pace, that little bit more confidence, and is willing to fight this out. 4.5 laps to go here from Suzuka. Can Danny Rick hold on, or will we find a way past? Come on, this has got to be the run. This has got to be the run on Danny Rick here with just over 3 laps to go of this Grand Prix. Get a nice tidy run through 130. Really open up the car on the white line. Ricciardo aware of it though. Again goes defensive. In towards the final quarter. Completely shoves me off the road. No idea what Danny Rick was doing there. We're getting a legal overtake for it. So we're going to have to let Danny Rick back. But now, hopefully we can try and go for something again as we head down towards turn 1. We instantly go straight back to the inside. This is Hamilton Raikkonen, 2008 Spa-esque. As we head back down in towards the first corner, Ricciardo again running wide through the first turn, and that time round we make the move work on Danny Rick there, and I think that has got to be one of the most aggressive battles I've had with the AI on F1 2020. That was brilliant fun, battling it out with Danny Rick here, but Verstappen now 5 seconds up the road with just 4 laps to go, and don't do that, Matt. So yeah, I don't think we're going to be able to close up the gap to the Red Bull, but we'll certainly give it our best shot. And that is not going to help us out either. Another big mistake with just a few laps to go of this Grand Prix. So again, we find ourselves making our life way more difficult. And why does this seem to happen when we're not battling another car? How come we can hold on then, but then when we end up by ourselves, we almost completely stack it, going through 130R. Right, we really cannot be taking any messing at this point of the Grand Prix. Up the inside of Albon, into the hairpin, almost into the back of our teammate, but we're back through again on the Red Bull, man. Can we try and get past Norris down in towards 130R? As again, the back end gets even looser. Trying to open up the run through Spoon, see if we can get any sort of momentum on our teammate Lando Norris here. I wasn't expecting to have to make so many overtakes over the course of this Grand Prix, but I mean, at least it's kept it more interesting, I suppose, as well. Through 130R once again. See again. And keep it nice and tidy, as that is very early on the brakes by our teammate Lando Norris there. Not too sure what that was all about. We do pick up some front wing damage, but we have also made the move work. It is all getting a bit scrappy towards the end of this race. Coming on to the final lap then of this Japanese Grand Prix, I think any chance of getting past Daniel Ricciardo has been made a lot more difficult with this front wing damage. We are still pulling away from Lando, so I don't know if he's got something wrong with his car as well. That might have explained why he broke so early in towards the Casio triangle there, but we're not going to give up on this just yet. We've spent all race trying to get past Daniel Ricciardo and stay in front of him here. We never really was going to have the pace to battle the likes of Mercedes and Max Verstappen this weekend, but to finish best of the rest would certainly have been nice nonetheless there. But as we head through the first sector, you can just see Danny Rick pulling away just a little bit. Oh, snagging the front inside wheel as we head through the Degners. We've got to be careful that we don't make another mistake before the end of this race. The wet weather really does catch me out so easily on F1 2020. Try and get the power down out of the hairpin. Yeah, I think it's just going to be too little too late, unfortunately, at the end of the day. But I think Bottas looks like he's going to take himself one step closer to that Drivers' World Championship. It could all be decided next time out in, I think, is it COTA next time out, or is it Mexico? I'm not 100% too sure which Grand Prix it is yet. I think it might actually be Mexico here on F1 2020, but he's going to come through to win by the looks of it. Hamilton in P2 there. Verstappen is going to come through for P3 at the end of there, quite running for the top 3 there. We go all over the back of Ricciardo through the Casio triangle on the final lap. Don't hit the pit wall, but that is going to be it. P5 at the end of the Japanese Grand Prix.
Take care of the car on the way in.
That's a spectacular victory then, and with it, the championship is secure. It's been a magnificent season, and they thoroughly deserve the cheers of the crowd here today. Tell me, Ant, how did they manage to achieve this win?
It's a heroic effort for any driver to race in conditions like these, and seeing them fight their way to the front was very special indeed. They were able to find all the grip, all the good lines, and had the confidence to get on the power to top it all off. That's what pushed them into first place here today.
And And I can see the drivers starting to approach the podium for the victory celebrations. A real team victory today. Everybody played their part. Congratulations then to Mercedes, your race winners today. And now let's take a look at the driver's standings. More points for Valtteri Bottas, further solidifying his lead at the top of the table. Let's focus on the driver of the day. Anthony Davidson, who do you pick?
I have to give it to Mr. Monaco. There was a lot going on all down the field, but they were the only one who I really felt maximised their potential.
The Constructors' Championship may be a foregone conclusion at the moment, but regardless, let's look at the standings. It's another clear win for Mercedes as they managed to secure the Constructors' title. An incredible performance for the whole team. There was also a strong showing from the McLaren team today as they make their way up the standings. Well, that was certainly an incredible weekend of racing. Be sure to join myself and Ant for more exciting Formula One action soon.
Well, there we are then, guys. The end of the Japanese Grand Prix. And Bottas, pole position, fastest lap, race victory, 26 points on the board. He very much seems to be doing his best Hamilton impression so far this season there. And yeah, Hamilton comes through for P2, albeit 4 thousandths off that fastest lap, 2 seconds back at the end of the day there, with Max Verstappen, a very, very familiar top 3 in the real world of F1 there. Danny Rick comes through for P4. We come through for 5th, somehow still getting driver of the day. Not too sure how we managed that, but another driver of the day on the board. I will take it very, very happily indeed there. Lando in 6th ahead of Alexander Albon there, who has a bit of a poor race out in P7, finishing just ahead of both Ferraris and Esteban Ocon there. Perez in 11th ahead of both AlphaTauris. Then you've got Giovinazzi and then Romain Grosjean, Raikkonen, Magnussen, both Williams, and then Lance Stroll, the only man not to make it to the checkered flag there. That means World Championship-wise, though, the gap opens up to 20 points to Lewis Hamilton there, but it further extends to 17 ahead of Charles Leclerc as well there. I'm much more intrigued to see whether Lando Norris can get the jump on Sebastian Vettel by the end of the season as well. Can Max Verstappen actually find himself all the way back up in P5, maybe even P4 by the end of the season as well there. Just 2 points separating him and Lando Norris there. Can Albon beat Danny Rick as well there? That is certainly a lot of battles to be keeping an eye out on between now and the end of the season there. But constructors-wise though, we now jump Ferrari 1 point in it with just 4 races to go of the season there. Mercedes have mathematically, they haven't wrapped that up technically. Yes, they have. Sorry, ignore me. My maths has failed me for a brief moment there. But yeah, Mercedes are officially Constructors' Champions, 205 points clear of ourselves with only 176 points available in the last 4 rounds of the season there. But yeah, 1 point now clear of Ferrari. So hopefully we can finish P2 by the end of the season there. Red Bull still 3rd ahead of Renault, Racing Point, Alfa Romeo, AlphaTauri and Haas. Yeah, we just Williams still yet to leave the markers there as well. But thank you all so much for watching. If you did enjoy, do make sure you get yourself subscribed. And yeah, we will be back very, very soon for round 19, sorry, where we head to the Mexican Grand Prix. You guys do not want to miss it. A big thank you to our channel members for making these videos possible. You can be featured in these end clips as well as granted access to some other exclusive perks for just £1 a month by clicking the join button below.